wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing.
Linda, are we live? We're live. Yep, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to welcome you all here for the meeting on the 9th of November. I'd first like to open and acknowledgement to country. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land in which we meet today, that are Warrumbal people, and pay my respects to the elders, past, present and emerging. I extend that respect to our neighbouring Aboriginal peoples within their local government area, the Gungaloo Nation people, the Barada, Kabbulbara, Yetamarala people, and acknowledge the Torres Strait Islander people whose lands are in the Torres Straits but who live and work on Aboriginal land. Item 2.1, I'll invite Sister Beryl from the Cathedral Parish from St Joseph's to give us a prayer this morning. Thank you, Sister.
Good morning, Mayor and member councillors. I'm here today because Father Matthias had another commitment, and as the delegate to the Ministers Fraternal for the Bishop, he asked me to replace him, so that's why I'm here. As I prepared, I was thinking to myself, you know, you've achieved so much and done so much for the region. I thought I'd like to begin the prayer a little differently by asking you to take a moment to think about some of the accomplishments, some of the achievements that you've had since you've been on the team. We'll just take a moment's quiet, and then you might like to give thanks to God for the wonderful work that you have done, and or you might like to pray to a higher being with whatever your religion is. So we'll take a moment's quiet for you to do that. Let us pray. Loving and faithful God, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom and support for the Mayor and each of the councillors as they begin this important meeting. We pray that you will guide them in matters at hand and ask that you will clearly show them how to conduct their work with a spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Give them the desire to find ways to excel in their work. Help them to work together and encourage each other to promote the common good for the people and land in this region. Help them to engage in meaningful discussion, allow them to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill them with your grace, Lord God, as they make decisions that will affect the lives of the people in this region. We ask that they would challenge each other to reach higher and farther to bring about the best possible solutions, and continue to remind them that all that they do here today, all that they accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We give thanks to you, faithful God, for the dedicated service of the Mayor and the councillors, and we ask your blessing on each one of them where his or her need is greatest, and bless them with good health, peace and joy. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to item 3, the apologies and leave of absence. Item 3.1, leave of absence for Councillor Neil Fisher from the 23rd of October to the 31st of December. Could I seek a mover? Move Councillor Wickerson, seconded Councillor Latcham. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried. Item 4, the confirmation of the previous minutes of the meeting held. Could I seek a mover and a seconder with regards to the accuracy of those minutes? Thanks, Councillor Smith. Seconder, Councillor Wickerson. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried. Declarations of interest in matters on the agenda, councillors. We have Councillor Wickerson has indicated that he has a conflict on item 9.6 Rockhampton Regional Planning Scheme, major amendment version 3, as your wife has recently purchased some property on the Riverside Waters Stage 4, and you believe the conflict of interest there. You propose to leave the meeting, stay away for the meeting while it's held, and while the matter is discussed and voted upon. Thanks, Councillor. We have another Councillor Rutherford, then Councillor Smith.
Mr Mayor, mine's the same item. I live in close proximity to that area, and I think I'll put it to the table as to whether or not you believe I should go or stay. You know,
Okay. So, Councillor Rutherford, Councillor, so I believe it's probably a long bow to say that that your decision for the wider public good is compromised by your proximity with your residents. So I'm happy to move that you stay while the meeting's being conducted. Could I seek a seconder? Councillor Latcham. Any discussion? I'll put that. Those in favour? Motion's carried. So I think we need to record who voted in favour there. Myself, Councillor Wickerson, Councillor Smith and Councillor Latcham all voted in favour.
do I vote?
No. There'll be a conflict.
Yes.
Thanks, Councillor Rutherford. Councillor Smith?
Mr Mayor, I had another read this morning of 9.3, talking about the alliance at the airport. On the map, it shows the whole airport precinct, even though this precinct is on the other side of the road, or other side of Hunter Street. It clearly shows Hunter Street coming off the airport boundary. So I think I would have a conflict there, because my niece and her husband own 2 houses in Hunter Street, which is in close proximity to development.
Yep.
So I would leave the room when
You'd like to leave the
so
room
thanks.
while that meeting's being...
The details, Councillor, it's your nephew.
It's my niece, Jackie Leavish, and her husband, Ross Leavish, own number 60 number 48 and number 60 Hunter Street, which is in close proximity to this development.
Thanks, Councillor Smith. 9.3, yep. Councillor Mathers, we're just moving into declarations in matters on the agenda. I see a light on.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, 9.3 Riverside Waters. I personally don't believe I have a conflict of interest, but obviously Councillor Rutherford lives close to there, and if she's declared a conflict of interest, obviously by relationship there may be something there, so I just wanted to bring that to the table.
Okay.
Sorry, yours is 9.6, is it?
Yeah, 9.6, Councillor.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry, 9.6, sorry about that.
Again, I believe, and as previously mentioned with you, Councillor Rutherford, that in the public interest, the greater good, rather over the residential one is not, I believe, is not there. So I'm happy again to vote that you wish to stay in the
Yes,
meeting.
please.
Yep.
Yes.
And again, I'll seek a second to Councillor Latcham. I'll put those in favour. I'll just put, I'll put that again, those in favour. Opposed? The motion's carried, thank you.
Thank you.
Again, Councillor,
Williams?
yep. Now, Councillor Rutherford, she abstained, so where does that
Yeah,
technically...
we'll put some wording in the minutes, Mr Mayor, to say that Councillor Rutherford declared...
Previously.
Yeah, even though if you abstain from voting, it is technically a negative. Yeah, well, it's not covered under the Act.
Okay.
Another little one of those glitches we'll have to
We'll
work
have
on over the time.
to work our way through. Okay, thanks very much, Evan. Public forum deputations nil, petitions nil. Moving on to 9.1, the Master Builder sponsorship from Advance Rockhampton, and I think we have Greg with us today for that one. Greg, did you want to present, or is it basically straightforward report? There's not a lot in there. Unless there's questions, councillors. Yes, Councillor Wickerson.
Mr Mayor, just I'd like to move an alternate motion for that. Just that Rockhampton Regional Council is the primary sponsor of this event, unless I'm mistaken. So I'm just wondering why a unit of council would also be co-sponsoring it. Seek some clarification on that, or remove that as a motion. Alternative. Can I move?
Just move that if you, yep. The Rockhampton Regional Council.
Yeah. And very happy to sponsor Master Builders. That's one industry in COVID times that's doing very well, and they deserve our support absolutely. And the amount is not significant either, but...
Bit of this, yep, okay. So you wish to move that? You move?
Yes.
Yep. Any seek a seconder on that? Councillor Latcham. I'll put those in favour. Opposed? Motion's carried. Thanks very much, Greg. Sorry, Councillor, my laptop just froze on me. Now moving on to the airport, 9.2, specialised supplier, Rockhampton Airport, Smiths Detection. Ross, would you like to present that report, Mr Mayor?
Yep, Mr Mayor, this one is hopefully fairly straightforward. There are the actual hardware, the physical scanners are actually from Smiths, who run the software. So it's just hopefully the idea is to tidy up the specialised supplier, because it obviously not practical to go out to tender for it.
Okay, thanks, Ross. Councillor, questions? I know Councillor Latcham had that one. Why wasn't it installed when we first done, but that technology wasn't available at the time, so this is a retrofit onto the system. But that said, you happy to move, Councillor Latcham? Seek a seconder. Councillor Rutherford. I'll put those in favour. Opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to planning and regulations, 9.3, reduction in development and assessment application fees for operational works. Oh, this is the one you... Oh, okay, thanks, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, So, good morning, Mr Mayor and councillors. Allianz Airlines have submitted an operational works application in relation to the construction of the maintenance hangar at the Rockhampton Airport. The calculated base fee was $70,695 plus 0.25% of anything over $5 million. So this has given the total application fee of $119,848.74. So Development Assessment would like to propose a 50% fee reduction, which more accurately reflects the cost recovery with assessing the application and the administrative work and inspections that follow. It is recommended Council accept the application fee of $59,924.37 for the assessment of the proposed development.
Thanks, Kathy. Again, how we get to the 37 cents, I'm not sure, but it's just part of the process. So a number of lights on there, so we'll go to some questions and then Councillor Rutherford.
Mr Mayor, just curious as if the 50% cost covers our costs, how come the original price was double that?
So that is our fee schedule. It is based on, you've got base fee, and then we have to plus the over a certain amount. So all operational works is, I think, done in that way. I'm not really sure how the actual structural fee schedule is
Tanya might be able to
determined.
Through the chair, Through the chair, the calculation of the fee is actually based on the amount of the work done, and the cost estimate of the work is $24 million. That's why it gets so high.
Thanks, Councillor Rutherford. Councillor Wickerson or Councillor Mathers? You're getting his mic. Councillor Mathers.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Yeah, look, I asked a few questions about this yesterday as well, and it was explained to me that Tanya was saying that there's a lot of engineering work involved in this job, so obviously there's costs involved, but because that 0.25% of everything over $5 million escalates it exponentially. So, look, I'm all for obviously council recovering all costs, and also if we can make some money, that's what we've got to make sure we're covering our costs and that sort of thing. But I am in favour of this, Mr Mayor, purely and simply for the reason that I'm hoping that it sends a good message to Alliance that we are very much supportive of this program, and also it might send a message to other developers and people that want to bring business to our area that the Rockhampton Regional Council is happy to negotiate and do whatever we can to attract whatever business we can. So I'm happy to move this one. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Mathers. Councillor Wickerson.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Similar, this is such an important project for the region, and happy to support this motion, but a little bit anxious about setting precedents with it. And the one line that says that this 50% reduction more closely aligns with the actual costs of the process, the assessment of it. Can you assume from that that our costs for every other development that we assess is also not up to what we charge? I'm just worried that someone in the future may look at this agenda, this resolution, and say, well, what are your costs for the assessing? So is there something unique about this project that I know Council's sort of closely involved with it that would justify that reduction? And happy that it's there, but just worry about moving forward, just that one particular line.
Tanya? Just the lights on.
These applications worth millions of dollars don't come through very often. I don't think it would set any sort of precedent in relation to fees. Most projects have fees well under that, so basically under the Local Government Act it's pure cost recovery. So that's what we've done, and other projects may have more engineering works than what this one does. So I don't think it'll set a precedent for discounting application fees.
I could, through the chair, Councillor Wickerson, that on previous occasions over the years, council on these larger costly projects, there has been fee reductions given to councils either through an MCU or operational works previously. So it's the same process we used.
So you're happy to second Councillor Wickerson? Move Councillor Mathers, seconded Councillor Wickerson. If there's no further questions, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. We'll ask Councillor Smith back into the room, please. Thank you. Councillors, 9.4 item has been withdrawn, so we'll move on to item 5, the adopted infrastructure charges resolution. And Angus, would you like to present to that report?
Morning, Mayor, councillors. Through the chair, the report this morning seeks council's endorsement for a number of parameters to help guide the drafting of a new adopted infrastructure charges resolution. The general parameters are around the quantum of the charge in relation to the charge areas, indexation of charges between application and payment, the commencement date and transitional arrangements. I won't go through the report in detail, but you'll see there's a number of options that were generally presented within the report. Those options effectively range from potentially a minor change to the charges and the resolution through to significant changes in alignment with the prescribed cap that's set by the state government. Happy to take any questions in relation to that.
Councillors, any questions? No questions. Could I seek a mover and a seconder with regards to that one? Move Councillor Latcham, seconded Councillor Mathers. I'll put that. Those in favour? I do like to speak against, yep. Yes. I need a speaker for the motion. Mover, do you speak in favour or just...
Just, Mr Mayor, just as the document indicates, I'm in favour of this motion.
Councillor Smith? Just your light, Councillor.
Sorry, I should have moved an amendment because I was all for option 3. I think by going the higher one, I know it lists some councils that have adopted the highest one. I don't see Gladstone there, I don't see Livingston or any of our neighbours, and I think people will develop elsewhere rather than Rockhampton if we're going to go on to the dearest rate. Also, when we were doing the workshop, I pointed out that I don't think it's fair that you're only using one level for everybody, whereas now we've got 3 different levels for charging, and I think that's going to be a detriment to a lot of things. And I just...
Councillor, did you... Sorry, just a point though, you say that the proposed charge is the maximum, but then there's the discounted charge.
Yeah, that's only for 12 months.
For 2 years, is it?
Probably Angus to clarify.
Angus?
Up to 2023.
Yeah, so the recommendation proposes that we set a commencement date of the 1st of July 2022, and that in the period from the 1st of July 2022 to the 30th of June 2023, that we have an incentives policy which provides a 15% discount across the charges to provide a transition rather than a single large step.
So can I just ask the question? So that is only for 12 months?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, that's how I took it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, yeah, we're going to miss out on some development by doing this.
Our financial position, Councillor, is the thing that we need to be mindful of.
Yeah, I realise that, but I think
Councillor,
to get some is better than none.
Speaker spoke against the motion. No, another speaker.
Sorry if I may.
To wrap it up.
There's just a question on this report that I've got, unless I've changed it. We had a discussion yesterday about the multiple dwellings, 3 or more bedrooms. That was the one that was meant to be 21 grand. Reconfiguring a lot was the other way. They had it around the wrong way. So it should have been 2 or less bedrooms was the multiple dwellings, 2 or less for $12,000. The initial $12,000. So
Angus?
So point of clarification in the table in the conclusion, the amounts relating to the multi-dwelling units with 3 bedrooms or more compares it to the current charge area 2. So the current charge area 2 has a lower rate for multi-dwelling units, both 1 and 2 bedroom and 3 bedroom and above.
So So just to clarify, Angus, the option 1 in that's being presented in the recommendation?
Yes, so the first option in relation to the charges is aligned to option 1 on page 2 and 3 of the report.
Councillor Mathers?
Thanks very much.
We had a speaker for. You speaking against?
No, sorry, I was speaking for. I thought Councillor Latcham was just
Was the question,
wrapping
so
up.
you're speaking for?
Is that okay?
The question is speaking.
No, speaking for.
Speaking for.
Is that okay? Yeah, I'd just like to say I do understand Councillor Smith's concerns, but in regards to this, and we spent a lot of time going over this with Angus and ourselves through the workshop, and I do believe going to this higher level, we're not far away from what our neighbours were from memory, Angus, in regards to the costings.
Yeah, so I believe Livingston is approximately 26,000 for a reconfiguring a lot.
Yeah, that's correct. And also what I'm hoping is that giving this 12 months notice or a little bit more notice, that might actually incentivise some of the developers out there to move a little bit quicker, put some of their stuff in, and we can maybe get a little bit more planning happening as well. So I'm very much for this proposal. Thank you.
Okay, councillors, the debate's on. I'd probably speak against it as well. I think my preferred option would have been just to move to a interim to bring it up to 25,000. I think that was where we were talking about in that space, rather than going to the maximum and then working on it from there. So my position, but that's it. I'll speak against it. So, Councillor Latcham, would you like to wrap up debate?
I think that we've had enough discussion on it. I think in the interests of the suggestion, the recommendation from the officers, I think that is the way forward for our region.
Okay, Councillor Rutherford speaking.
Point of clarification, please, Mr Mayor, if possible, because I thought I heard Angus just say, and in our previous discussions, was that there would be a reduction, a percentage reduction when it was first brought in, so that it was a transition and not a jump. Is that right, Angus? Is that what? Yes, for
That's correct.
Yeah.
12 months, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, councillors, there's no further debate. I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those opposed? The motion's carried. I'll record the Councillor Smith vote and recorded. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to item 9.6, Regional Planning Scheme Major Amendment, version 3. Councillor Wickerson, step to the out of the meeting. Thank you, Cameron.
Good morning, Mr Mayor and councillors. So the report for you this morning is for version 3 amendment to the planning scheme, major amendment to the planning scheme. Essentially, over the last 12 months, officers have been working away at various changes, proposed amendments to the actual planning scheme itself. And version 3 is summarised in the report. So what we're looking at is a series of zone changes, home-based business to be allowed in industry zones, further clarification in relation to industrial land use definitions, amendment to the subdivision provisions to align with the state regulations, to include the North Rocky Flood Management Area Stage 2 area within our maps, and we have a number of other inconsistencies in interpretation improvements to the planning scheme. So the purpose of the report for you this morning is to, obviously we've already prepared the major amendment, to now submit the nature and details of that amendment off to the state government for state interest review. That state interest review occurs for 60 business days, after which it will come back to council Usually it's supporting with conditions. At that point in time, we'll reconvene with council, perhaps have a workshop to go through any outstanding items from the state government, and also discuss ways step forward in relation to public engagement of version 3.
Thank you, Cameron. Questions, Councillor Rutherford?
Mr Mayor, it's a little bit of a left field question on this one, and I'm hoping I haven't missed it somewhere along the line. Cam, we had talked a number of times about putting greater restrictions on telecommunications towers, and that it kept being said, wait until we do an amendment of the planning scheme and we'll address it in that, and I haven't actually seen that being addressed, and here we are ready to submit this amendment, and we haven't done that, unless I've missed it.
Sorry, just through the chair, telecommunications provisions haven't been included. That's for a further workshop. Unfortunately, with these amendments, we're trying to group them together into like amendments, and certainly there will be future amendments on commercial centres as a result of the commercial centre study, and we can also include telecommunications towers as well, but we haven't proposed this in this one, unfortunately.
So how far away will that be?
Just through the chair, I'm happy to pursue that in a workshop discussion first. I'd imagine that'd have to be probably early next year.
The workshop for it? How long before we would tackle an amendment with that in it? But
well, through the chair, that depends on how well the workshop goes, but if we decide on amendments, look, there's no reason why we can't put in a version. We can put in rolling amendments, so it doesn't really matter. We could put in another version 5, 6, 7 to incorporate these other changes. So it could be early, mid next year. It's a bit hard to say, because we've got a number of other series amendments to incorporate as well.
okay, so I might be missing something, or has something changed? Because I thought it was costly to do amendments, so that's why we were waiting to do a major amendment with everything included.
It depends on the amendment itself and where we have to do reviews. It can be quite costly, but given a lot of the amendments have been done internally, it's basically staff wages and resources. That's the cost to council. But yeah, I guess we're trying to package up amendments with like amendments. It's just easier to undertake a public consultation process when you're consistent with the types of amendments you're doing. That's not to say we can't do a future amendment on telecommunications towers.
All right, thanks, Mr Mayor.
Okay, thanks, Cameron. Councillor, further questions with regards to this recommendation? If not, Portfolio Chair wish to move, or
That's fine, Mr Mayor. I'm happy to make that.
Mathers is seconded. Councillor Latcham. We'll put those in favour. Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Might invite Councillor Wickerson back to the room. Unanimous, sorry. Yep. Sorry, Karen. Thank you. Moving on, councillors, 9.7, the major amendment version 4. Again, Cameron, thank you.
Good morning again, councillors and Mr Mayor. So this particular report we've had to split the major amendments up, of course. So version 4 is in relation to our flood catchment overlays. So as councillors would be aware, we've had previous workshops, the last one being the 13th of October, running through the flood overlay maps. Obviously, Council's commitment to producing information in relation to areas of flood, and of course as part of this process is to incorporate it into the planning scheme. Happy to take questions on the flood catchment overlay.
Thank you, Cameron. Councillor Smith?
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. And I've probably asked this question before, Cameron. So you mentioned Gracemere and then you've mentioned Mount Morgan as well. Our smaller places like Bajul and Stanwell that were badly flooded in 2013, where are they actually captured in the scheme of things?
So these particular mapping changes are based on studies and modelling that's been done. Those areas, further work would have to be done, is my understanding, to capsulate and make changes for those areas. At the moment, the planning scheme has a floodplain investigation area that captures quite a lot of those areas with provisions in the scheme. But until we have further updated information, at that point in time, we'd incorporate that into the planning scheme. So I guess this amendment's incorporating what we've done so far in relation to North Rocky, the Fitzroy River, South Rockhampton, Gracemere and Mount Morgan.
Cameron, originally after the floods, and Cabra Township is another one, if someone's going to build a house there now, is there a flag that comes up and says that you've got to build it up to a certain height in those, say, those three little areas that are badly flooded?
If it's triggered by our overlay, there is. Okay, I'd have to have a look at the specific areas of Cabra and to see which areas are encapsulated by the overlay. So I'd have to look into further detail. But I believe that there has been some modelling done in those areas, and any future information that comes to hand, we'd certainly incorporate that into the planning scheme, as well as with all the modelling that's been done. It's also on our council website as well, and as part of our flood searches. So all available information that council has in relation to flood, when people put in their flood searches, that information is relayed back to that particular applicant.
Councillor Smith?
I'm still not convinced, but so...
Just in summary, I mean, I can only incorporate into the planning scheme the information I have.
Yeah.
So or regulation. Yeah.
Sorry, Cameron.
Yep.
If there's more work done in any areas, does it have to go through this major amendment to be part of the planning scheme? It's probably the worry I have that where all this is in the a major amendment.
Yep.
And it's a lengthy process. So if you discovered more data outside of all these areas, does that have to go through an amendment to be recognised?
To regulate development, yes. Now, bear in mind with this particular major amendment, because there's so many properties impacted, we felt that we should go through a proper public consultation process. There's over 4,000 properties impacted upon some of these overlays. So, because it is an exercise in community awareness and engagement as well as controlling development, we can go through temporary. We can go through minor amendments to a planning scheme. We can also put on temporary local planning instruments, particularly if there's an area of risk, and they are more shortened processes than a major amendment. But we felt that, given the amount of properties impacted in this particular scenario, that we felt that a proper detailed engagement was undertaken in this instance because of so many properties. And bear in mind, South Rockhampton doesn't have this overlay at the moment, and neither does Mount Morgan, and North Rocky and Gracemere have been reviewed.
Peter?
Yeah, through you, Mayor. I just wanted to explain the studies that have been done were done, and there's two different things here. You're talking about some historical flood knowledge in those other areas, which is used to guide development potentially, so we make that available. But we have to do a formal flood study, which models up to a certain standard to then create the overlay. So, as was just pointed out, we don't have these even for South Rockhampton today. So that's what this is doing. So further down the track, if council wants to, it will have to allocate funds to do catchment studies in those other areas and determine a flood overlay for the 100-year and other size floods. So there's two different things going on here. This is a formal process to establish a layer based on modelling, and those other catchments you're referring to, councillor, have not been studied at all in any detail to produce this. There is minor investigations, but not a complete study.
Thanks, Peter. Councillor Mathers.
Thanks very much, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to say I'm very much in favour of this. I think it's very timely that we've had this update, and it's great to see it. I know there's been a lot of work, Cameron, with getting this together, but I just think it's great to see that our overlays, flood overlays, are a lot more accurate than what they have been in the past. We're still only dealing with the data and the modelling that we've got in front of us. I understand that, but I think this is something we need to continue to move forward with for the rest of our region as well. So a good work, and I'm happy to support it.
Okay, move Councillor Mathers. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Rutherford, we'll put that. Those in favour? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item 9.8, summary budget management report for the period ending the 30th of September 2021. Thanks, Marnie.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and good morning, everyone. So presented is the summary budget management report for the 30th of September 2021. The operating revenue is currently at 40% of the adopted budget, where we should be around the 25%, due mainly to our rates and charges being levied earlier in that part of this year. Private works and recoverable works are at 19% of the budget, and grants and subsidies are at 31%, which are ahead of the budget. All other revenue items are within the proximity to the budget. Our operating expenditure is currently sitting at 23%, contractors and consultants at 18%, materials and expenses are above the budget at 32%, and administrative expenses are around the 19%. Our capital income is over budget in relation to capital grants and those other items that are capital in nature, but our capital expenditure is currently sitting at 11% of our carryover budget. So we have some work to do in terms of our capital expenditure program through the year. Our total investments are sitting at 114.7 million for the end of September, and loans at 140.7 million. We saw 16.9 million spent during the first quarter of the financial year. However, we need to see that increasing momentum as we move further into the year.
Questions, Councillor Smith?
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. Just with the capital, you're saying we need to ramp it up in the next while to get that spent. And I'm just probably question to Peter, how confident is he to do that?
I think Peter's mentioned there'll be another report coming back on the footpaths and what's happening in that space, but I'll hand over to Peter. Peter?
Through the chair, how confident? Look, we definitely will ramp up, but in all likelihood, I suggest that we will be revising the capital program and pushing some to the next financial year. So there will be a presentation at the next workshop on FRW, on the water portfolio, which will update on those major projects, and I suggest we'll be shifting some of those to the next financial year.
Thank you. Councillors, no further questions to Marnie. I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Councillor Wickerson, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. 9.9, final management report for Rockhampton Regional Council 2021. And thank you, Marnie.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So this is the final management report in relation to our 2021 financial statements for the period ended the 30th of June 2021, which has been received from the Queensland Audit Office, on behalf of Thomas Noble and Russell as their delegate. So the actual financial statements will be presented later on in the annual report. However, in this final management report, there was no new matters identified, and 3 internal control matters were actually closed out during that period. We still have 2 matters that require attention, being the capitalisation of the capital work in progress, which we're working through currently, and general data security around our capture of our data within our IT network. So there's progress on both of these, and we're hoping to resolve a lot of that detail and close out those matters by the 30th of June next year. There were some savings for council in terms of the final audit fee, because all of our audits were done remotely during this last financial year, given the restrictions and lockdowns that we faced, and that our auditors were actually based in northern New South Wales didn't help either. So in relation to that, really the recommendation is for council to receive the final management report for 2021.
Thanks, Marty. Just a question on that is, if there was a saving made there, is that something that could be continued in the future, or is it more the face-to-face that's required to have those audits undertaken?
Mr Mayor, this year we are in our 5th year with Thomas Noble and Russell, so they have been our auditors for that period of time. It's expected that the Queensland Audit Office may change out our contract auditor for the for this financial year, so it may not be that we can actually do the first audit remotely, I would think, given introductions and just getting used to our systems. So we're not aware of who that will be at this point in time, and haven't received any advice from QAO at this point in time as to the change out of those auditors, but at this point in time, that's what our expectation is.
Okay, we'll see that as it develops. Thank you. Councillor Latcham and Councillor Rutherford.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Happy to support this one. I guess the savings, answering your question, the savings was just essentially the airfares.
Yep. Okay. Councillor Rutherford.
Mr Mayor, just a slight amendment, if I could, to the recommendation, and that's just where it says the Regional Council be received and the organisation be congratulated on a great outcome.
We've had some swings and balances that need to work through this one, and trying times and COVID, to throw that into the mix, it's been fantastic work by the organisation. So, Councillor Latcham, you're happy to move. Councillor Rutherford, second. Okay, Councillor, if there are no further comments, I'll put that. Those in favour? Motion's carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. Moving on to 9.10, the revised policies for entertainment and expenses. Councillor Smith.
Mr Mayor, can I move a motion that this lay on the table until it's workshopped? Because there's so many track changes in there. We normally workshop a policy before we change it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, look, councillor, if that's, like I say, there's lots of changes there. We probably take a while to go through it, but a workshop's probably prudent, as that's just to understand where those track changes are going. I thought a little question box may have helped in the report, but just to say where some of those are gone. But yeah, there's a lot of detail there and a lot of work that could go through. So you move that the motion lay on the table. Seconded, Councillor Latcham. Again, I'll probably support that as well. So put that. Those in favour? Motion's carried. Thank you. Till the workshop, yeah. For the workshop. There's no timeline requirement for that one, councillors. It's just a policy review, so we can do another workshop on that, or do a workshop on that to go through those changes. Councillor Latcham, yep. And carried unanimously, yep. Okay, thanks, councillors. Moving on, item 9.11, the 2021 operational plan for... Oh, Cherie, sorry.
Do we not have to have a date, an
for
actual
workshop.
date on that?
No, there doesn't have to be a date, Councillor Rutherford. Preferably it would be, but I think we're fairly full, if I can remember our schedule.
Yeah.
So we'll try and schedule that one as soon as possible, so yeah.
All right. I just thought when we would lay something on the table, we had to have a...
I'd
Yeah.
put an action in there
Yeah.
to overcome that date. The reason why you're taking it to a workshop was to actually look at the track change or the proposed changes. So.
Thanks, Liz. Thank you. Lisa.
Good morning, Mayor and councillors. This report is providing our Q1 operational plan progress report. There's two parts to the report. So one is that progress report, and the second part is requesting council's approval of some amendments to our current operational plan. Stepping you through, you're familiar with the format of the progress report. So the report sets out detailed commentary and summaries in relation to each councillor portfolio, as well as contains that traffic light style report to determine and show whether or not council is on track of meeting its operational plan targets previously adopted. It is only Q1, however, the report shows only 2% of our targets are currently not on track. So a good result at the end of Q1. And also within that report is our performance plans for each of council's business units. So like we've done in previous reports, the plan for the presentation of the report is for each of our general managers and CEO to provide a brief overview of their particular areas. I will start with our... which one? It was our CEO. He's giving me pointing fingers.
Yeah, no, I'll take it.
Are you happy to go first?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Thank you.
Council, as it's only Q1, there's not really a lot of major things sitting there within probably the whole of council. There is a few, from what we councillors will understand, is some influences that are going to influence on the delivery of our operational plan that weren't planned as we did in an operational plan. So some legislative changes have been coming in for comment and whatever else, so they will impact on us. But generally speaking, overall, things are tracking okay. Alyssa said is that most things are actually on track, so I'm probably happy to move over into one of the GMs.
So next is our Executive Manager for Advance Rockhampton, Greg, if you'd like to provide an update.
Thanks, Alyssa, and Mayor and councillors. As the CEO said, Q1, a lot of activity in the economic development, tourism, marketing and event space. Probably just to cover off in some particular order. In that tourism, marketing and event space, we've been very focused on the mountain biking, the fishing and the destination marketing. A number of videos of which have been distributed. A number of publications which we spoke about, and a massive amount of social media engagement, which, as most of you saw in the workshop recently, our engagement there has just increased significantly. As we know with events, NRL games were certainly, seems like so long ago, but you know, what a great quarter for Rockhampton and Central Queensland with the NRL games being held here, and again with announcements in the last week with Brown Park. Bodes very well for the future engagement with the NRL as well. We continue to engage with the NRL. On an industry engagement side of things, the precinct survey was completed earlier in the quarter with 435 responses. The economic development survey, which is currently being tabulated, just about finished, 1,120 responses, which is an amazing response for a survey of that type. We signed the Small Business Friendlies Council, and we issued the Investment Rocky video as well. On the agribusiness front, a lot of the energy was spent securing the Rookwood Landholder Support and Grants Program contract, which is now underway and run by Advance Rockhampton in partnership with, or in contract with Sunwater. In the renewable energy space, 2 forums held, one with Neoen and one with CQ Power. We continue to engage with all those project players as they also run their engagement with PowerLink along the way. In the innovation space, the AI Hub, that partnership was signed. We also start to work very closely, the Mayor and I, with the AI Hub, especially in the defence sector. They have great links in there, and we'll continue to engage as part of that. And dovetailing into the defence, we did submit that report to the Defence Department, and we received a response. dare I say the words, it's now in the bureaucratic merry-go-round, which is not a bad thing because it continues to put Rocky on the radar in the hallways of Canberra. So the more we get on the merry-go-round, probably the better, because they'll know, more people will know that Rocky's in that space. Continue to work with CQ Rock on finalising the tender and recommendation to CQ Rock mayors on the defence strategy and industry capability statements along the way. Probably the final one, and which is in the traffic lights there, the economic development strategy. I have an email right now to sign off the successful proponent for that, so we're moving along in that space. So I'll open it to the floor for questions.
No, thanks, Greg. It has been a until you go through all those items, you don't really appreciate how much work's been undertaken by the department and the group, and really is putting Rockhampton on everyone's radar. Through the events and also our involvement in the economic development space. So congratulations to you and the team. And this is a great way, and again, echo the CEO's side of it there from that corporate part is work that's being undertaken that I think people are busy ferreting away at their jobs. They don't really appreciate when you combine all those efforts together. It really does put council in a good position going forward. Councillor, any questions to Greg? Or thank you. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, councillors.
Alyssa.
I'll hand over now to our Deputy CEO to provide a summary for corporate services.
Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, Mr Mayor. As Evan said, still first quarter down, so still fairly early days. One thing I did want to point out, though, is where in our customer service area, with that whole large body of work has been done in that area to bring our statistics up. While we look at one of the statistics here about the calls answered still aren't up where we want it, I must say we have brought that down to the 45 seconds, very much closer down to that point. So we are expecting to hit that target fairly soon. But in saying that, we have halved abandoned calls and reduced the, as I mentioned, reduced that average speed, but we're still exceeding that first point of contact. So that's a key one for us. Have some other issues, not issues, but other key statistics I suppose we look at is that our suppliers are 91% are paid within trading terms. They're still maintaining that over 90%. Our IT, our service level, internal service levels at 87%. We do set a pretty high target at 90%, but so we're just a touch below, but still a good level. The finance areas, Marnie's just delivered a couple of reports there, so that's been, you see where they've been tracking fairly well, and we've done some further work on our long-term financial forecast. So, by and large, we'll see in that traffic lights, there's a whole bodies of work going on there. I won't talk to anything in particular, but happy to take any questions that Mr Mayor, if there are any.
Thanks, Ross. Councillor, questions on that? Thanks, Ross. Doing a good job.
Thank you.
Alicia.
And then our community services summary from our General Manager.
Thanks, Alicia.
Thanks. So, councillors, the year is flying by quickly, but we are progressing our goals in the operational plan. So, firstly, a shout out to 3 officers that have offered substantial assistance to me in this reporting period. The first 2, Damon Morrison, thank you, and Jacob Weir. They have significantly progressed preparations for the opening of the Rockhampton Museum of Art, and that will open early in 2022. I'm pleased to report that we have a new director that is expected to start before the end of this month. So in the reporting period, we reached physical completion of that building, and the team are now working from the site. So we expect to have the artworks moved in by the end of this month. The third shout out goes to Drew Stevenson, who's helped me in the community assets and facilities area and has made a substantial impact in a short space of time. Again, we're expecting a new manager in this space before the end of the month. Without the one-team attitude of these 3 people, both these areas would not have progressed as much, so I'm very grateful for that. A key project in our plan, being the Botanic Gardens and Zoo, has had a substantial boost with the announcement of $1.5 million from the Building Better Regions Fund. So that's for a formal entrance and gathering space for the Botanic Gardens Botanic Gardens and Zoo. So our new curator there, Stuart Elder, has got some big shoes to fill and now is finding his feet. Our meerkat encounters have recommenced and they are providing very popular, which is great to see. And all going well, our new baby will be another boost for that zoo popularity. The Heritage Village reopened and has held the Multicultural Fair with some success. We're looking forward to the Christmas night market on the 27th of November and the new lights out there making these events possible and new opportunities, especially during our hot summer. With the announcement of the 2032 Olympics, there's many sporting associations that have become very active in town in efforts to improve our local facilities and take advantage of future opportunities. With the forum run last week by a federal member and pending our discussion with Council tomorrow, I'm flagging that we might need a potential change in the operational plan, particularly if we want to make efforts into this space. Last but not least, the Court has seen significant progress on our Sustainability Action Plan, and I'm pleased to see some key installations at some of our community facilities for solar. The full information report was presented in the last 2 weeks, but we've seen substantial success in taking out the National Sustainable Communities and Tidy Town Awards in the category of water and natural environment management. Councils will note a change proposed to the action around climate adaptation and resilience. It's proposed to incorporate Council's action towards climate change into the review of the sustainability strategy, rather than make it a separate strategy on its own. That's it for communities. Happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Alicia. Questions, councillors? Again, when you group all those activities, it really does, there's a lot of work going on in the background to highlight the work that's undertaken. So again, thank you, Alicia, and your team.
Thank you.
And lastly, our General Manager of Regional Services.
This is where the rubber hits the road.
Good morning, Mayor, councillors. Okay. Another busy first quarter for regional services. Overall operations have been as normal across all of those areas, and I'm just going to highlight a couple of key things that are going on. So in the infrastructure world, civil operations still is out there building cycleways for main roads. It is putting a bit of strain on our design resources because these cycleways were not designed, so we're just keeping up and designing just in front of the construction crews. But that work will continue until March 2021. We completed the art gallery this quarter, so that was great, and the airport is very close to completion. In the water portfolio, well, the highlights are we continue to truck 30 to 40 trucks of water up that hill. And just before anyone asks me, there's no dam inflow as a result of the rain last night, okay? It's going to take a lot more rain than that to start flow. We've gone out to tender for the design and construction of the North Rockhampton sewage treatment plant, and we closed now and starting to be evaluated. Capital expenditure for FRW is very much down at 7%, and it will be a low expenditure this year, but I'll talk more about that in a few weeks. In waste, some exciting things there. We started our FOGO. All the planning went for the first quarter was really planning to get that up and running, and it started just in October, and you will get a report on how that's progressing. But there's 750 households that are on the scheme, and it's going quite well. We completed the process for the tender for the Mountain Morgan water security, and we have engaged consultancies, which is AECOM as the lead, and another company called BDO, who will do the economics underneath this. So that's great that that's progressing. And right down the end in the waste world, there was two other things. We have commissioned now the next cell so that we will have sufficient airspace and capacity going from May next year. So that's good. The liner is coming over from, I think it's Saudi Arabia, which is the only place that we can get that particular liner, but it's on its way. And the other good thing that's just happened in the waste is we've done our polystyrene unit that's finally arrived. We're commissioning it, so we will be able to recycle all of that polystyrene that was previously going into landfill. And that's all I've got. Any questions?
Councillors, questions to Peter? Again, Peter, again, a lot of work happening in the different departments there, but all excellent work being undertaken. Thank you. Liz?
So just to recap, councillors, there are two parts to this report. That concludes our progress report summary, and attachment 2 contained in the report is a marked up set of those proposed changes and just some tweaks basically to the operational plan actions. Our general managers are all here if you've got any questions in relation to any of those specifically. Other than that, I'm happy to take any questions. If not,
no,
seek
very much, Liz.
approval of those changes.
Yep, I'm happy to move. Seek a second with regards to that. Councillor Latcham. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried. 9.12, the adoption of the 2021 annual report. Thanks, Ross.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, before us today is the formal adoption of the 2021 annual report. Included in there is a whole lot of statutory information that's required, as well as the financial statements, certified financial statements in there. I guess, any questions? Probably the easiest way. There's probably nothing really to highlight.
You've gone through the report. Any questions or comments? Councillor Smith?
Yeah, I just thought it was read really well, Ross.
Thank you.
Yeah, inclusion of the photos is always good. Updated photos of councillors was good. But I thought that, yeah, really good. I'd say probably the best one we've ever produced. Okay. And yeah, congratulations whoever was working on it.
Yep.
Yourself.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'll pass it on as Leone and Matt's team put that together. And so,
yeah, really
pass it
good.
on. Thank you.
And I just wondered, Mr Mayor, can I get a hard copy, please?
Hard copies,
a hard copy of the annual report.
No problem.
If possible.
Okay, councillors, any other questions, comments? If not, moving to seconder. Move Councillor Smith, seconder Councillor Rutherford. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. Where are we at? 5 past. No notice of motion, no questions on notice. Urgent business questions. Councillors, closed session. We have a number of items there to be dealt with in closed session. Item 14.1, Airport Licence Agreement Renewal. 14.2, Qantas Lands and Office Lease and Negotiations. 14.3, Virgin Office Lease. 14.4, Virgin Cargo and Freight Site. 14.5, Specialised Supply for Rockhampton Museum of Art, Sutton Gallery Australia Party Limited. 14.6, Property Matter, and 14.7, Legal Matter Update. And there is a supplementary closed item on there. No, I just haven't got 14.8, which business opportunity, Rockhampton Airport. Councillor,
Some urgent business.
Urgent business.
I thought
Sorry.
we'd done that at the end, but urgent business now. Or?
Yeah, no, you're right. I've gone over it. Sorry.
Oh no, you did mention it. Just quick. Councillors, Mr Mayor, this relates to the approved artwork to go in the long gallery of the new Museum of Art. Now, when we had our that was presented to council some time ago, but the part that wasn't presented to us, and we've only, I think, collectively found out when we had a walkthrough recently, is that proposed artwork for the long gallery was initially only going to be there for a period of 12 months and then painted over. I think that's been extended now by our stand-in director to maybe 2 years, but I feel that that's still a bit offensive. 2 years for this artwork that we're paying with money from the Philanthropy Board, and I understand that that's money that's been donated by sponsors with the full understanding that it is to be painted over. But regardless, the community will see council spending $100,000 on this piece of artwork that is ephemeral. It'll be gone in 2 years' time. I don't think that sends a very strong message when we're trying to cut costs for the council, even though, yes, it's somebody else's money. The community won't understand that. And we haven't got to look too far back to when artwork that was put on a private building, and I won't mention the exact one, but in the CBD, for $15,000, and it was painted over by the owner of that building, what sort of criticism council received, even though we had nothing to do with that process. This is one that we will enter into knowing full well that it's going to be painted over in 1 or 2 years. That's irrelevant. The community will not understand that that's the prerogative maybe of the sponsors to this program, and well to them if they got the money to afford to pay for something and then it gets painted over in 2 years' time. The other issue on that I have is that to do that work would seem a lot easier if it was done maybe on panels that could be either painted on the ground and then hung up just like any other artwork. You won't have scissor lifts and working at heights issues, and I don't know the actual period when it's to be done. I understood it would be finished by the time the gallery opens in March, but then somewhere else I thought it was a 6-month project, so that it may well go into time when the public are in the building. So there's a whole lot of issues about working from elevated work platforms and licensing and ticketing that you would think on the face of it much easier to do it on panels on the ground, and then we assemble those panels like a large jigsaw, if you like. And this is a large piece of work, as we know, so it's not something you can do just from a ladder, not you should be working off a ladder anyway. So for a whole range of reasons, I strongly object to the idea that we put something on the wall there that then is painted over in a year or two or whatever. So 2 options are to put it on the wall and leave it there forever. I know that's not ideal either, because galleries like to circulate work around it, and I agree with that, but I really think that council should strongly consider going back to the artists, and I think their preference is to paint straight on the wall, and I don't know whether artists normally get to make that call, but I don't see any difference to the artist whether it's painted on the wall or on panels that go on the wall. I don't see the difference why that would offend them. And that way, at the end of the period, we can take the pieces down, we can store them if they're in panels, and then put them up at another time. It just seems like wasteful and sends an extremely offensive message to the community that I know there's some families in my division that they're struggling to put food on their kids' lunches, you know, so to waste $100,000 so publicly and with our approval it just doesn't sit with me, sorry.
Councillor, it wasn't a decision that was made by the table, it was one that...
I know, but if we sit back and do nothing, we're complicit in it all the same, so... Understood,
but to leave it there as a permanent one, probably not an option either.
I agree, I'm just putting it, that's the 2 options that I see, but...
Yeah. Mr CEO?
It's probably not urgent business in the technical sense within the...
Depends when it's going to start, Mr CEO.
Yeah, even though you could actually wait till the next scheduled meeting. But anyway, that's just a side issue, the whole lot. Maybe what is needed by council either is a notice of motion for the next council meeting, or today call for a report on some details to provide the other councillors. There's probably two options there for council.
Yeah, happy to prepare a notice of motion for next meeting, but I just didn't want it to commence in the meantime, and like other events that we've had, that we're then committed and locked into it, so there's nothing you can do. So I don't know when it's going to start, but if it's going to be completed by the time that the gallery opens, I imagine that's fairly soon, but I don't know.
Mr Mayor, probably just to cut through it is just a motion that a call for a report on the ephemeral...
If you want to move that motion now, you can move the motion.
To call for a report?
Yep, if you like.
Or I can just move a notice of motion for the next meeting that we insist that it's on panels.
It's up to the council table.
I haven't got enough information about it, where it was at, and would it have been an operational decision for that to go ahead? I'm just not sure how it developed or where it and the reasoning around what it was. So I guess that would come from a report for me to make a formal decision about where to go from it.
Okay, Mr. Well, happy to move a motion that we call for a detailed report about the rationale behind it for the next full council meeting.
That's probably the best way to get all the information, and everyone's got an opportunity to go through it before we make any decisions on the fly.
No, fair enough.
Okay, we'll get that detail. Councillor Mathers?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mr Mayor. Look, I'm very similar lines as well, Mr Mayor. I'm happy to second that. I was pretty well gobsmacked when we did the walkthrough, and I was made aware of that as well. I understand this is how things work in the art world, I really do, and I understand that it's not council's money, it's philanthropy, it's money that's been raised. I totally understand that, but it's just it's still money, and it's still money that we're spending for in the long term. So I'm in agreement with certainly calling for a report so we can delve into it a bit more. Thank you.
Okay. Does that cover the intent there, councillor? Okay. Councillor Mathers seconded. Okay, councillors, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. Okay.
Mr Mayor, I just realised I would have a conflict of interest with 14.8, same as 9.3. It's talking about the alliance at the airport.
Okay,
so
with the
could I
relatives.
register that now, please.
Mm-hmm.
Councillor Smith will leave the room.
Okay. So I seek to move into closed session.
The meeting be closed. Sorry, if
Meeting
you
be
could just go
closed.
back up to the top of that recommendation. Yeah, that the meeting be closed
To close to the public to discuss the following items considered confidential in accordance with section 254 of the Government Act and regulations for the reasons indicated.
which is 14.1,
14.2, 14.3, 14.4, 14.5, 14.6 and 14.7. I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Councillor Wickerson, put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried. 14.8. We need. And I'll seek a mover in a second that we 14.8 that we move into closed session as indicated in the reasons previously. Move Councillor Wickerson, seconded Councillor Latcham. I'll put that. Those in favour? The motion's carried. And a motion to go into closed session. Move Councillor Wickerson, seconded myself. Put that. Those in favour? The motion's carried. I think we should have had Councillor Smith here for that one. Councillor, we'll take a quick... Councillor Wickerson, and I seconded it. Councillor, we'll take a 10-minute recess and be back by 10:25. Thank you.
Sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the fun line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine. Everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line. Ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming.
No. Are we on? We're good? Okay. Councillors, item 4.8, business opportunity for Rockhampton Airport. The officer's recommendation that the council proceed as outlined in the body of the report. I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Move Councillor Latcham. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried unanimous. Thank you, councillors. Please invite Councillor Smith back into the room. Okay. So we need that now? Yeah, unanimous, yep. Okay. Councillors, moving on to 14.1, the airport licence agreement. And the recommendation is that pursuant to the Local Government Act, the ANAC Incorporated, and item 2, point 2, that the council authorises the CEO and the airport manager to negotiate the licence agreement as outlined in the report in the preparation and execution of the delegated officer. Could I seek a mover and a seconder with regards to that one? Move Councillor Latcham, seconder. Councillor Smith, put that. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. 14.2, is that the office land, Qantas office lounge, office lease negotiations. The officer's recommendation, to authorise the CEO and airport manager to negotiate leases outlined in the report in preparation for the execution by the delegated officer. Seek a mover and a seconder. Move Councillor Rutherford, seconded. Councillor Mathers, I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried unanimously. 14.3, the Virgin office lease. Again, 2.2, that the CEO, office airport manager, authorised to negotiate the leases outlined in the report in preparation for the execution by the delegated officer. Mover and a seconder. Move Councillor Mathers, seconder. I'm happy to second. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Motion's carried. 14.4, the Virgin cargo and freight site. Again, that the council authorise the CEO, airport manager to negotiate the leases outlined in the report in the preparation of the execution by the delegated officer. Mover and a seconder, councillors. Move Councillor Latcham, seconder. Councillor Rutherford, put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Again, carried unanimously, councillors. 14.5, the specialised supplier, Rockhampton Museum of Art, Sutton Gallery Australia Party Limited. The pursuant of the local government regulations to approve the Sutton Party as a specialised supplier for the acquisition of the artwork. Mover, Councillor Wickerson, seconded Councillor Smith. Put that. Those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you, councillors. 14.6, a property matter. Again, that the CEO, Coordinator of Property Insurance, be authorised to proceed as the matter outlined in the report. I'm happy to move. Seek a seconder. Councillor Wickerson. I'll put that. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, councillors. And last of all, the 14 unanimous. Yeah, it was unanimous. Sorry, in 14.7, the legal matter update. Again, I'm happy to move as recommended in that report that the CEO to take action as recommended in the report. Seconder, Councillor Rutherford. I'll put that. Those in favour? Those opposed? Motion's carried. Councillors, thanks very much, and officers, for your indulgence today. Very meaty agenda, but we went through it pretty well. And we'll wrap it up. Close the meeting. Thank you. Councillor
I just want to make a comment, probably out of the meeting.
Taking the good with the ups and downs. I wanna see how the world turns round. Let's go adventure in the deep blue sea. Home is with you wherever that may be. Home is with you wherever that may be.
Now that we've arrived here, I would not change a thing. Knew that we'd survive here and all the goodness we would bring. Of this I sing. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join the front line, ain't nobody left behind. Everybody swimming in sunshine, everybody feeling fine. Everybody join